boys and girls, secondary students, and also tertiary students, students of Buddhist Sunday School, parents, grandparents, and teachers of Dhamma classes. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. Now we are going to have a presentation of a Jataka story from the Mahakapi Jataka. Now you know the Jataka stories tell about the previous lives of Buddha when he was a Bodhisattva, a Buddha to be, cultivating the perfections of paramis before finally he became the Buddha. Now this is what is the Jataka is all about lah, right? They are stories lah. But the important thing about these Jataka stories is this: there are good lessons, Dhamma lessons that we can learn from these stories. Now, this particular story talks about the Bodhisattva. That means a Buddha to be. That's one of the previous lives of the Buddha, according to the Jataka. And that time he was a monkey king. Now we are going to go over the story, and then at the end we are going to learn some Dhamma lessons. Now the texts are in English as well as Bahasa Malaysia or Malay, but we are going to have the narration in English and also the explanation. Now, as usual, we will have a PowerPoint presentation. Before we view the show, let us check the setup. It is okay. Now we can launch the PowerPoint. View show. Now you see the cover slide, the story of Bodhisattva, Monkey King. As I said, the word Bodhisattva actually means a Buddha to be, Buddha to be. And this is taken from the Mahakapi Jataka. And you can see the animated images of the monkeys swinging from tree to tree, branch to branch. And there is this sculptural thinger that they have found in India, a sculpture based on this story of Jataka. And you see that the main character, of course, is the Monkey King. Then you have also a king during that time. Now, let us go on to the story. Now, let us look at slide number 2. Now, let us read the story and explain to you gradually. The Bodhisattva was once a king of monkeys. He led a troop of 80,000 that fed regularly in a giant mango tree on the bank of the Ganges River that bore the sweetest, most delicious fruit. Now, at this time, the Bodhisattva, the Buddha to be, he was born as a king monkey, He was the leader of a group of monkeys. And according to the story, he puts the figure as 80,000. Now, it's quite difficult to imagine 80,000. So I personally feel that these are just, ways of expressing figuratively, not really literally 80,000 to feed on the mangoes of one tree, isn't it? So this one, I don't take it literally. I just think of it as it shows many monkeys. He was a leader or king of many monkeys. And these monkeys would go to this place, the bank of the river Ganges in India, holy river lah. And at the bank of this river, you can see the drawing here, was this giant mango tree. And the mango tree bore fantastic mangoes. You can see the animation here. Very, very sweet, delicious mangoes, you know. So they would go to feed on these mangoes regularly. So that is the explanation. Now, as for the Malay, you can read later on at your own leisure. We now concentrate on the English and the narration. Now, let us go on to slide number 3. Now, slide number 3. Now, it reads this way. Not wanting anyone to ever discover this divine tree, the monkeys picked all the flowers that grew in branches over the water so that no fruit could fall in and float away. Despite this caution, one fruit hidden by an ant's nest grew ripe and dropped into the river. Now, what does this mean? Now, actually, the monkeys did not want other people to discover this godly tree, a holy tree, a very, very special heavenly tree, a divine. And this is because if people were to come, right, so they might shoot at the monkeys. There may be hunters for monkeys. So the king monkey was the Bodhisattva, would tell all the other monkeys, his followers, be careful, right, not to have any mangoes or any flowers, that just grew above the waters, the branches that bore these flowers just above. So make sure you don't have this, because next time when they, turn into fruits, then the fruits might drop in, so that we watch out. Because the river Ganges would carry any of the fruits, so the flowers later on will turn into fruits, right? And then the fruits can drop into the waters. So they are very, very careful, the monkeys. But unfortunately, on one occasion, even though the monkeys were very careful, there was one mango fruit. It was hidden by an ant's nest. So around the area was an ant's nest. So they did not see this particular fruit. And when the fruit grew ripe, it became ripe already. It was quite natural for the mango to drop down, as you can see in this drawing. So the mango dropped into the river Ganges, and the waters carry, the mango from the upstream down into another place, right? And to another place. So what would happen now? The mango flowing down the river Ganges. So now let us go on to the 4th slide. So now the 4th slide, it floated far downstream and was found by a man. He showed the massive fruit to the king, who showed it to his foresters, who assured him it really was a mango. So what happened was that this mango flowed down the river Ganges, carried by the waters of the river Ganges. From upstream, it will flow downstream. So it reached a place where there were people, right? Upstream, near the Himalayan mountains there, you don't find the people. But once the mango reached, downstream, then people could see it. And it so happened that there was a man who found this mango. And it was a very special mango, not like the ordinary ones that we see and we eat. Right? So very special, it's divine mango, heavenly mango. So then this man brought it to the king. And the king was also puzzled, a very special, lovely mango. Then he showed it to his foresters. The foresters were his workers, would go to the jungle, right, to pick maybe the fruits or the certain plants or wood or whatever working at the forest. And then the foresters said, yeah, it is really a mango. It is mango. So then the king decided to cut it and taste it. Wow, the taste is so very, very special. And it affected his whole body so nicely. He felt so nice. The taste was fabulous. Wow, now the craving started. He wanted to have more of this already. That's the danger, you taste something or you see something, then you want it desperately, more and more. So the king was like that. So he asked the foresters to lead him upstream because the mango flowed down from the Himalayas area, the Himalayan mountains upstream. So he said, okay, trace it. Now we go up towards the Himalayas to find where the tree is, where the tree is. And then true enough, you could see here, they found the tree. The tree, a heavenly tree, bearing what? Bearing the divine mangoes. So the king and his entourage, that means his group of people, they were the palace workers, the foresters, or maybe even the guards, he's a king, so all these guards who follow him, So of course they had a good feast. They feasted on the mangoes in the tree, and then they said, let us camp underneath this tree for a few days. Every day we could eat because it was a fantastically big tree. Imagine could fit so many monkeys, isn't it? Very, very special tree, you could say. That's the Jataka story, it's a story. Now, let us look at slide number 5 now. Now, what does slide number 5 say? At midnight, the Bodhisattva and his troop arrived and started to feed. So the Bodhisattva, that means the king monkey, the king monkey together with his followers arrived already at the tree, and they wanted to eat the mangoes already. So probably it was near morning already or at sunrise. They were still at the tree, slowly, gradually sitting there, enjoying themselves. And the king woke up from his sleep together with the other people, his guards and his workers and so on. And they saw the monkeys eating the fruit. So what did the king do? He ordered his archers to surround the tree and prepare to kill all of them in the morning. Of course, he was just about to start in the morning already. The sun maybe was starting to rise up already. But then they say, so the king said, these monkeys are eating all the fruits that I want. So you all must kill all the monkeys. So, that time they don't have guns, right? Or bombs, weapons of the modern age. So they use the bow and arrow. And you can see this picture here. This animated showing the bow and arrow shooting. Those days it was like that. Even fighting, you see, wow, some of the movies, the soldiers who use the bows and arrows. And it can be very powerful and kill quite a number of people, So, when the Bodhisattva, the king monkey, saw this, that the archers were all getting ready to kill all the monkeys, Wow, he was the king of the monkeys. No? And he was a Bodhisattva. With all the good qualities, he had kindness, he had love and compassion. So he knew already he had to do something to save all his followers. The other monkeys, they would die when they are shot by the archers, the people who use the arrows to shoot. So what did the Bodhisattva do? Now he had fantastic strength, outstanding, very powerful, you know. So he jumped over the river. Probably the river was not that wide, right? So he could manage to jump over from one side where the mango tree grew, and he jumped over to the other side. And the other side also, there were trees, and then there were vines. No, vines would be something like, those creepers, or the plants that will bear the grapes. Anyway, these vines, they have these tendrils, or you can say like the creepers. So then he pulled one of the vines, right, from that side. Actually, his idea was to try to form a bridge, so that the monkeys could cross the bridge to the other side and avoid being shot by the archers. That was his plan. The monkeys, they were not the Bodhisattva, right? So they did not have the strength to just jump over like this. He was a Bodhisattva. He got outstanding strength. A Bodhisattva, special one. With all the fantastic qualities. So that was his plan. Now you could see his idea was to get one of the vines there. It's something like a branch, but it's softer than the branch, right? And then he would pull one, and then after that jump over to the other side, right? And then he will try to get the other vine from the other side, and then hold on to the two, like this. You could see the idea was like this, right? So let us see what happened. Did the monkeys die? Could they be safe or not? Very exciting already. Then let us see. Now we go on to slide number 6. Now, as the description goes, he tied one end to a tree and the other to himself. Just now I said that he went on the other side. So tied, actually you could say he tied to his hand, and then he jumped back to the other side where the mango tree was. But he did not realize that actually he should actually tie around the waist, more powerful. But maybe, he did not have enough of the vines to tie over the waist. And he was a bit short of the vine. But anyway, he grabbed a branch firmly with both hands. So the other side, you could see, actually the picture would tell you, right? And the other end, he would, grab onto the vine with the other hand. So it will form a bridge now, right? You have two ends, you have the vines, or you can say the small thin branches or whatever. Not very strong, Some of the drawings are picture like this, This is just a drawing. That one, because of so special Bodhisattva, he could make himself very, very big. I mean, this picture just showed like this, or like one hand reaching one side and the other hand reaching the other side. But just a drawing. But this one, I think, will be a more accurate situation, just like this also, right? Like this also will be a more logical situation where he used the branches to help the vines. So then he asked the monkeys to very steadily, gradually cross the monkey bridge now, because now it would act as a bridge. So he asked the monkeys now, very gradually, one by one, you go over my body, to go over his back, or maybe over his shoulders, or over his head also, right? So actually he could stretch also, he could stretch, or perhaps his legs also could also stretch out to this side. It would be something like this to reach the back, or otherwise it would be just like this, and it would just go over the thin branch, across the hand, go over the shoulder and the head, and then cross over to the other side. And that's the idea to go across the human monkey bridge. But unfortunately, among the troop of monkeys, there was this terrible monkey, quite bad monkey, and he did not like the Bodhisattva. According to the story, later on, this monkey, the bad monkey, would be born as Devadatta, whereas the Bodhisattva later on would be born as the Buddha, you see. So the last monkey, he was the last to cross already. Right? The rest had crossed already. He waited for his turn because he wanted to do something very bad. You know what? What he did? He did not just cross gradually over. No. He reached the Bodhisattva monkey maybe at the shoulder, or the picture of course exaggerated to show that he reached the back already. And he started jumping, jumping on the Bodhisattva very hard, jumping, So of course, it was terrible, isn't it? Instead of crossing over, so his weight on this Bodhisattva monkey, he caused the injury to his back or his shoulder, you could say, or his neck, right? And jumping like this, of course, it was terrible, a very dangerous thing. And then it caused the Bodhisattva monkey to let go of the thing, to let go of the wine already, right? And then the Bodhisattva was injured already, injured already, so he fell. The Bodhisattva fell into the river. He fell into the river. Wow, so terrible incident. So what happened? Now, let us look at slide number 7. That's slide number 7. Now, let us look at this one. Number 7. All this while, the monkey together with, the king together with the archers, and then also the other people from the palace, the guards. The king saw all this happening, Wow, the king's heart was really touched. The king watched all this happen. He was moved. Moved means he was emotionally touched by this king monkey, the Bodhisattva. So kind, so loving, the selflessness, to try to save the other monkeys from being shot by the archers. But it was too late. He was shocked. He did not realize that suddenly, there was this particular monkey. You can see here. This monkey, the last one, jumping over the Bodhisattva's shoulder, and probably the neck or the part of the back. So, wow, he saw the whole thing. The Bodhisattva fell into the river. Probably also there might be a few rocks. So he was very badly injured. So the king stopped all the archers from shooting already. Of course, the monkeys all had crossed to the other side already. Then he commanded the workers or the guards to try to save the Bodhisattva, to ask to, of course, they go into the river and then bring out the king monkey. You could see here like this, the picture. And it was very, very serious already, right? So, but he had not died yet, the Bodhisattva. So the king asked this king monkey, why you did this? Wow, really selfless rescue. And he was dying already, but he could still speak. So among his last words, so actually he answered this way. He told the king that a truly good leader must care for his subjects. That means the followers. He was the leader, isn't he? The king of the monkeys. So he must really love them and care for them. All would die, if they were to be shot So that's how he, with his compassion and wisdom, to think of a way to save the monkeys. So that was his goal. So the happiness and safety of the subjects was his only concern and goal. So he explained why he did that action. Actually, if everything had gone on smoothly, without this monkey jumping, everything would be okay. They all could escape. But that was the story. So that's how the Bodhisattva died. He died. So now let's look at more meaningful Dhamma things now. Now, so let us see what were the last words between the king and the dying Bodhisattva monkey. He was dying already. Couldn't be saved already. The injuries were too bad. So the king maybe spoke something like this. Of course, in Jataka stories, you find that the animals could talk, and many strange things, just as Sankanchiu stories, animals could talk, and they could sometimes behave like humans and so on. These are just stories, right? But the important thing is the lessons we learn. Of course, some will question whether the Jataka story is true. Some say, oh, not true, couldn't be. But some say, who knows? Maybe long time ago, the animals could talk. And anyway, it's not important. Even if it's not true, but we can learn very important Dhamma lessons, isn't it? Right? Of the good things. So the king talked to the dying king monkey. He said, you made of your body a bridge for others. Did you not know that your life would end here if you did so? Of course, the Bodhisattva monkey knew that he was quite dangerous, but he believed that he could succeed. Actually, he could succeed if not for the bad, evil monkey, who later on, according to the story, will become the Devadatta. In the life of Buddha, Devadatta also tried to kill the Buddha 3 times. But during that time of the Buddha, he could not kill the Buddha. But this one, the monkey, of course, Bodhisattva, he could be killed. You see? So the king was puzzled. You gave your life, you sacrificed your life to save your followers. Who are you, blessed one? The king did not know that he was the king of the other monkeys, the leader. And who are they? The other monkeys that crossed over. Then the Bodhisattva replied, O king, I am their chief and leader. They live with me in this tree, and I was their father, and I love them. I do not suffer when I have to leave this world, as I have saved the freedom of my subjects, the monkey followers. And if my death can be a lesson for you, then I am more than happy. It is not your sword which makes you a king. It is love alone. Do not forget that your life is only little what you give. When with your sacrifice you can assure the happiness of your subjects. Do not rule with power over them, because they are your subjects. Rule over them with love, because they are your children. Only this way you are really a king. When I will be no more, do not forget my words. Oh, Brahmadatta. Brahmadatta, the name of the king. So very touching words and fantastic words of advice and Dhamma. So the Bodhisattva monkey, the dying words, he explained to the king. Right? He did this because he had to save his subjects out of love, just as mother would save the children, isn't it? Right? So he wanted to save their lives and let them have the freedom, otherwise all would die, isn't it? So that was why he did that, he explained. So this was a fantastic sacrifice, selfless. That means he was thinking more of the other monkeys, the followers, than he himself. Otherwise, he could just jump over to the other side and then jump off he would escape, isn't it? Because he's very powerful. But no, he did not do that. He did something to save the lives of the other monkeys. Then, he told the king, you have seen all these things, so let this be a very good lesson, a Dhamma lesson. Of course, he didn't use the word Dhamma, right? I'll be very happy if you could learn from this and change your ways. Of course, the king, would like to go hunting, also sometimes some cruel action. You see, it's not your sword, not your archers and all this that make you a great king. It is your love or metta. So do not forget, right? So your love, your care for the subjects, and the things that you do to ensure that they have happiness and safety. That is the fantastic, important thing. Do not rule just because you think, oh, I know I have power, I can do whatever I want. And you find in the history, you have so many kings like that also. They don't like you, they can kill you, and command you everything. So many cruel kings, and also today you have governments or also dictators also, isn't it? They don't follow it, they follow the Bodhisattva's advice. You won't have so many dictators like Hitler and so on causing so much suffering, isn't it? So his message was, you must have the love and the care, no cruelty in your ruling. Very good message, even applied to present life, isn't it? So you must rule with compassion and metta. All these are your children. Then you are regarded as a truly great king. You find actually later on about the story about King Asoka. At first also he was terrible, he conquered people and killed so many people. But later on he realized already that he was terrible, and he turned into a fantastic Buddhist king, And because of him, a lot of benefits came for Buddhism. He built the Asoka pillars with the Buddha's teachings all engraved there. Just changing into a good ruler. So last words, he asked the king not to forget his advice and words. So this is a very, very meaningful thing in this slide. No pictures, only all the words of the important Dhamma. So the king was so touched, he changed already, his heart already touched. He knew that he was not a good king. So he changed his ways. So because he really respected this monkey king, so he ordered that the Bodhisattva, the monkey died, the king monkey died. So he said, we are going to have a funeral fit for the king. That means to really honor and give respect to such a great creature with this quality. So during India, that time, they would cremate, burn the body. They don't bury, you see, usually burn. And he would build a pyre, you see, of course, you have to get ready the burning area, isn't it? So he got a lot of the good timber, the story says 100 wagon loads. Again, you find all this description a bit exaggerated, but just to tell you, to emphasize that, he got many good timber, the tree trunks, things, very good ones, to build a very fantastic pyre. This you can see is the pyre. The pyre built all surrounding with all the wood and the smaller branches and so on. At the center, you build a very nice place to place the dead body. In this case, the Bodhisattva's dead body. So then the cremation took place. So all stood with prayers and respect. They were Brahmins, you see. The time no Buddhism yet, isn't it? Maybe an ancient religion. I don't know. So in the end, what will be left will be just the bones. The bones of the Bodhisattva monkey. And then to show the honor and the respect, what did the king do? The Brahmadatta, he got the skull of the monkey king. He got the skull of the monkey king, and then decorated it with gold, and then he placed it on like pagoda thing, right? A shrine, we call it a shrine, a relic shrine. So he put the relics in this shrine thing, Just as today also you can see pagodas, shrine. Even in our Buddhist association, we also have these relics of the Buddha. given by the late Chief Reverend Dhammananda, are placed there. These are only present day. You can see all in India, Burma, and so on, the pagodas where you have the pagoda at the shrine area, right? And they are only they only are used to store for the arahants or maybe a very very highly cultivated monks or things like that. Not anybody who have the relics put there. So that's what the king did. So the king, this is the picture to show you the king. So the king learned a lesson and he really changed. He followed the Bodhisattva's lesson and advice and words. So for the remaining days of his life, he was a good king already. Full of morality, followed moral rules. He was righteous, very fair, very just, very kind, very compassionate, helpful, giving alms, dana, and many other good deeds. So just like a Bodhisattva already. So it's a beautiful Jataka story. It's a story, but we can learn many things, right? So I hope you can understand the simple Jataka story. What is more important is to reflect and learn from the Jataka story the Dhamma lessons, right? So that is the Jataka story. Now, of course, you have, I think, probably more than 500 Jataka stories. No? If you are interested to know about these stories, you can actually Google and check the internet. But mostly they write in terms of words. In the YouTube also, you may have some Jataka stories, some animation and so on. But sometimes you might not be able to follow the narration because mostly are not done by Malaysians, mostly done by Westerners, right? Europeans or Americans or Indians. And they have a slang or they have an accent that you may find it difficult to follow the words. I cannot understand. Whereas I'm a Malaysian, so I speak in just like a Malaysian. So I was thinking, I take various sources, spend some hours to get these things, and then to do a Google Translate into Bahasa Malaysia, so that those who want to learn Bahasa Malaysia and also English, now you have double benefits. So that was this thing. And that's how this PowerPoint and video are made. So then the pictures I just got and inserted. Now let us go to the last slide already. The most important one. The Dhamma lessons to learn from these Jataka stories. Actually, the Jataka stories all tell about the Bodhisattva's previous lives, how he developed his paramis. Paramis means the perfections, the excellent spiritual qualities that will pave the way to become a Buddha. Something like a training of the heart and mind. And eventually, the Bodhisattva will become a Buddha. That's why the word Bodhisattva is a Buddha to be, not yet enlightened yet, not yet Buddha. So in the previous lives, according to the Jataka, the Buddha had been born as various beings, as animals. Many of the stories as animals, elephant, deer, monkeys, many. You can quite interesting, just like the San Kanchiu stories. Actually, San Kanchiu stories and some of the Western Aesop's fables and so on actually originated also from the Jataka stories, which a long time ago. Especially you read the San Kanchiu stories, San Kanchiu, the deer could talk and so on, isn't it? So influenced a lot by these Jataka stories. So in each of the Jataka stories, you find the animal, right, was cultivating or showed the paramis or the perfection, the quality, patience, loving kindness, compassion, helpfulness, dana, all the good qualities to develop, until as a Buddha, all these qualities perfect already. The Buddha, perfect in morality, compassion, love, wisdom, everything all perfect. That is full enlightenment. So you see, they might be just stories, but I always feel there are good messages we can learn. Just as you read fairy tales, Cinderella, Snow White, and many other stories, the Three Pigs or whatever, Little Red Riding Hood and so on. Actually, we have to think out the life lessons. These people is some so bad, so cruel, right, and so on. And at the end, the bad ones will suffer, just as a person with bad karma will have to pay a price. So these are the lessons that are important. The spy stories are very important also. So now let us look at the important Dhamma lessons we have to learn. The first one. Firstly, if people ask you, what do you mean by Bodhisattva? Now, Bodhisattva usually used as a Sanskrit word. Then there's also the alternative term, Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is more Pali. So either Bodhisattva or Bodhisattva, they mean the same. And actual meaning is a Buddha to be already, cultivating along the path, right? And in the previous life, there were so many the Bodhisattvas, how many lives the Buddha had lived before in the cultivation to finally become Siddhartha Gautama and then to become enlightened, the fully Sama Sambuddho. So now let us look at some of the qualities. There are many, but today we emphasize on this in conjunction with the story. There are many other qualities. In future, maybe we will do other Jataka stories. I've done some before already in the comic form and various ways. Firstly is metta. This metta, I break it up into two words, kindness and love. Because if I would put metta, then maybe many may not understand. Some who are watching this are not Buddhist. So the word metta actually means loving kindness. So there are these two qualities. Very fantastic kindness and the true love, right? Not the 感情我爱你，你爱我的 love, that can turn into hate one. Not that type of love, but it's the metta. Selfless, unconditioned love. Very close to this type of love is the mother's love. The mother would sacrifice her life even for the sake of the children in danger and so on. A very high level. But this Bodhisattva has this type of metta and very, very kind. And as you can see from the story, he did not think of himself only. Metta is unconditioned love, is selfless love. Metta, full of kindness, loving kindness. He did not think of himself, he was selfless. He just was thinking of the other monkeys, That's what the Bodhisattva is. Today also you have in the world, some are doing very good humanitarian work, charity work like Mother Teresa. Sacrifice to help the poor, the orphans, the mothers who are, needing so much help. The wives whose husband have died, and then some are so sick, need care and so on. And Mother Teresa in Calcutta care for all this. So she is a Bodhisattva, isn't it? So you can see how important this Bodhisattva is. So when we practice Dhamma, we must practice also like a Bodhisattva to show all the good qualities, to develop the good qualities. So a very important quality, the first one, metta. I think you can read the Bahasa Malaysia translation later on your own. Now let us go on to the second point. Now, the second quality is fantastic, great spiritual quality, is compassion. In Pali, it's called Karuna. Now, what's the difference between metta and Karuna? Metta translates as loving kindness. That's the best translation, with kindness, with love, right? So that means you feel the kindness and love for people, for all beings. You have the friendliness, you have the goodwill, you have the benevolence for the other beings. You have good thoughts. Like, you do metta bhavana. So you wish other beings well, isn't it? Like may all animals be well, happy, peaceful. May no harm come to them. So you have that metta feelings. I think all of you in the Buddhist Sunday school know about doing metta bhavana. You have even a very nice Buddhist song, the chant of metta. That is also to evoke that feelings of love and kindness for all. Opposite will be anger, hatred, ill will, aversion. That one will be negative, bad karma one. But if you have the metta, you get all the benefits, 11 benefits, and it is a good spiritual quality. But compassion, wow, that one is even in a way, actually they are all important, but anyway, it is a very, very high spiritual quality. Compassion is that thing in the heart, wanting to relieve the suffering of other people. That is compassion. Let's say I give you an example. Let's say you go along the streets of a place that's very poor, and you come across a baker, and you have this metta, you feel, wow, I have the feeling of kindness and show the concern, right, the love. Then the compassion is that thing that you want to try to help, that you have the more than sympathy, is empathy, that you feel for that person, you feel for that suffering, and you want to do something to relieve the suffering, at least to lessen the suffering. So you give the person food, or you give the person some money because he's in real need. That you feel, that you do is an act of compassion. Right? So it's connected. That's why actually in Mandarin is 慈爱慈悲 right? But then when we say metta bhavana, we usually say 主比仙. That means we combine the two. Very, very close, these two. So this Bodhisattva has this great Karuna or compassion quality, So he feels, not only just feels, he wants to do something to save the other monkeys, isn't it? An act of compassion. Just as Mother Teresa, she had metta and she also had compassion. So, like for example, people who want to become doctors or nurses and all those that deal with people who are in pain and so on, they must have these qualities. Otherwise, they don't make good doctors or nurses. They only want to cari makan. So that would not really give them the true happiness and peace. But there are some really compassionate doctors and nurses. So this Bodhisattva has great compassion. That's why, Chinese, they always pray to Guan Yin Pusat, you see. But many don't understand. They think, Guan Yin Pusat is like a god, pray, I want this, I want that, let me have a beautiful girlfriend or handsome boyfriend. You completely misunderstood this Guan Yin idea, right? The Guan Yin is actually the representation of compassion. Or what we call the embodiment of compassion. So which means if you are praying to Guan Yin, it's just not praying like to a god, That's completely wrong. Actually, you must practice the compassion, the Guan Yin way. Otherwise, it's useless to go and pray, chant Guan Yin Pusat, but your heart is still as black as charcoal. Then how can Guan Yin help you? How can all your wishes come true? You are not doing the right thing or practicing compassion. When you practice the compassion, all the good things of morality, then blessings come to you. But sad to say, many, I would say, majority, worship the Guan Yin as just another god. So the Guan Yin Pusat is a Bodhisattva, the Buddha to be, but actually it shows compassion. That is the important thing. But people tell stories, Guan Yin was a princess, one of 3 daughters, and this and that, birthday, this day, that day, everything. All these are just not the important things. The important thing is what is represented. The compassion we must practice. So in this case here, you could see the practice of compassion by the king monkey. The Bodhisattva monkey. So there's this second important Dhamma lesson you have to learn. Now let us look at the third one already. Right? Is the wisdom. Right? Now, you see that a Bodhisattva, he has to cultivate the wisdom. The wisdom is to do what is right, to not to do that is wrong, and also to find the intelligent way, the clever way, the way that can really work also. Sometimes very tricky, not easy to have that wisdom, especially in a situation like just now you saw the story. Wow, Archer's going to kill already. So what are you going to do? So many monkeys around, all these things. Early morning, then they say, oh, what time in the morning they're going to start killing. So you have to find a way. You can ask all the monkeys to run away. You ask the monkeys all to run away, they will start shooting straight away already. Right? They will start shooting with their arrows. And you can ask the monkeys to jump into the river. And he will drown also. And then also some will be shot already while they are doing that. So he had to quickly think of a way. But anyway, that's the story. But the important point is that in our practice of the Dhamma, this is a very important spiritual quality to cultivate, and that is wisdom, 智慧, right? Kebijaksanaan. That is a Malay word, they put it as hikmah, but kebijaksanaan. And how can I develop wisdom? You say, oh, I study, I go to the university. That is not wisdom. You find there might be people going to the universities, study until a very high level, they even get their PhDs and so on, and they can also become terrorists. So how can there be wisdom? You want to kill people because of the wrong beliefs and wrong views, cause suffering to other people? That definitely is not wisdom, but they are very clever. They're qualified, they know how to use the internet, all the high technology, computers and all, they know how to do all those things, how to use bombs and all, they know, very smart. In the wrong way, no wisdom. So you see, wisdom is a very important quality. In fact, the whole of the Dhamma practice is to develop essentially these two qualities, compassion, wisdom. We see that one at the last slide. So, and you can actually read many stories in all religions, not only Buddhism. Stories of wisdom. Even in Islam, you have great stories of wisdom. You can read some of the Islamic stories where they talk about, wow, this wise person giving the advice and all. Some good stories also. But unfortunately, many don't want to learn from here. They go and learn some funny things which are off the path and become terrorists off the way already, because wrong beliefs, delusion. And then also in Chinese culture or history, even in India culture and history, you have many, many stories of wisdom. So one good way, especially now, so many of the young people are so good in using the internet, mobile phone, iPad and whatnot. So instead of every time just listening to songs or watch all the dancing all the TikTok things violent things not to say you can't do that once in a while you can entertain yourself or relax, all right. But the sad thing is too much time is spent on all this. How many of them, for example, would search the internet to read a good wisdom story? They can learn and improve on their mind and develop their mind. And you find these are the most important things. I don't think many young people search the internet to read good wisdom stories, like Zen stories, so on. So I have posted some of these wisdom stories with some pictures and so on, right? So that is a very important one. You can say the most important in a way to develop wisdom. So when the wisdom is developed on and on, then you find the other good things also come out already. You become more peaceful, right? You become more happy. Then you find your heart and mind light already. You will lessen all your worry, all your fear, and you know what to do in situations, especially very difficult situations with problems. But many don't have this quality. They cannot cope. They don't know what to do, commit suicide when they have these problems. the girlfriend or boyfriend runs away and commits suicide. That will be foolish, isn't it? So you see, this Bodhisattva is cultivating also this wisdom quality. Very important, right? Now let us look at the last of the Dhamma lessons. It's an aspiration. So this is the fourth Dhamma lesson that we are going to touch on. Now we make this aspiration. May we practice the Dhamma well to grow in compassion and wisdom. That actually is, you can say, is the goal. Our goal in the Dhamma practice, what is it? Not to get something, no, to become rich, to become famous, not that, not praying for this and that, that is completely out. The important goal is to grow in the mind so that your compassion and wisdom will grow and grow, will develop to the highest level. Then you become enlightened. If you go to 100% already, the wisdom 100%, you understand all things already. To see nature as it's truly as, to see the things as they truly are, to understand the Four Noble Truths and all those things, the highest level of the wisdom, then you're enlightened, you see. And then these two will go hand in hand. Hand in hand. When you have the wisdom, compassion also arising. But some people say, oh, compassion, that is very compassionate. He always gives money, everything. But sometimes he does foolish compassion work also. Like for example, he just, without wisdom, gives so much money to the drug addicts. Because you poor fellas, all right, they have no food to eat. But instead of buying food for them, they give them so much money and they go and buy the more drugs. Isn't it? So that is in a way called idiot compassion, as one monk or nun told us, don't practice idiot compassion. So must have wisdom accompanying. And then you may ask this very important question. Yes, we want the compassion and wisdom to arise, and then many, many good things will come about until the final goal is to become enlightened. So you ask, then what are the ways? What should I do? We say, oh, practice the Dhamma, but of course it's not elaborated here. It's a summary. When you say practice the Dhamma well, what is the way? The most important thing is just one way. And that way, the most important way, there's only one way according to the Buddhist teachings, and that is to follow the Noble Eightfold Path ardently, mindfully, diligently. Ardently means, wow, with great passion, with great interest and enthusiasm. Because it's very, very important. You have a fantastic passion, just as you have a passion to play tennis. So whatever it is, you will make it a point to go to the tennis court and play, or the badminton court. You have a passion. So that's sort of a burning passion interest, because you already know the importance. That's the first thing. Then also you must be diligent. Oh, I have interest, but you are not diligent in your practice, not hardworking. Then, of course, you have this thing of determination, also perseverance, go on. And then, of course, the third one, you have to have mindfulness, to always know what you are doing. We are practicing a certain action, dana. You are mindful when you are giving some, maybe offering to the monk. You must be mindful, not just thinking of some, now I give, maybe I can get all A's. All this is not right thought. Just know, now I'm just doing the dana for the monk. Being aware, put your full attention to what you are doing. So, practicing the Noble Eightfold Path ardently, diligently, mindfully, these are important things. So when you walk along, right from young, if you can study this, very good. Today, sad to say, you have so many social problems, immoral actions, and then people are suffering, all this. Because the mind is not developed to think wisely. And of course, because they don't develop the minds, they don't follow what we call Jia Ting Hui. It means they don't keep the precepts. They don't keep the moral rules. And this will bring the bad consequences and results. Right? So these are some important points I would like to say regard to practicing the Dhamma well. And the best way would be to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. So we have come to the end. It's an hour already, slightly crossing an hour already. So I hope you have learned important Dhamma lessons from this Jataka story of the Mahakapi Sutta. Right? So before we say sadhu 3 times, I would like to thank all the students, particularly suitable for the secondary students, the college students, and also the Buddhist youths. In fact, also even the aunties, uncles, especially the last slide, which has more profound Dhamma. And also the teachers, the parents, grandparents who are trying to teach good Dharma or moral education to the younger ones. So I'd like to thank all of you for taking time and having patience and mindfulness to follow this presentation. So sadhu to all of you. So now let us put our palms together and say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. And may the Dhamma be with you always. Take care.